With an aim to make investing easier for beginners, there's a buzz around Lightyear and their offerings. Now that Lightyear have finally released their stocks and shares ISA, I wanted to try them out for myself to see if they could take my portfolio to infinity and maybe even beyond. But the skeptical side of me has one nagging question that we'll get to later in the video, but let's just say there's a snake in my boot. Please remember that nothing I say in this video is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor and all investments have risk. All information was accurate at the time of recording. Lightyear are regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority and are covered by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme. The idea to start an investing platform began over a few coffees between two early employees of TransferWise, or Wise as they're now better known. Martin Sock and Mikkel Armour both couldn't believe how much they were paying in hidden fees when they were investing, and wanted to spark a change. So Lightyear was born with the aim to offer a transparent, low-cost investing app that opened up global markets to European investors. This caught the attention of some pretty big names in the industry, and perhaps none bigger than Richard Branson, who said, "Lightyear are lifting the lid on the world of investing, making it more transparent whilst empowering people through education to choose the products which are right for them." This led to a lot of expectation being placed on Martin and Mikkel's shoulders to deliver on what they'd promised. But this is an extremely competitive space, and I wanted to know if Lightyear could be a real competitor to the biggest brokers out there, or if this is just another toy that we'll have forgotten about in a few years' time. So I don't repeat myself 3 times over when talking about Lightyear's stocks and shares ISA, I'll also be covering their general investing account and business account, as the functionality of all three will basically be the same. The main difference is that in a stocks and shares ISA, you won't pay any capital gains or dividends tax on the returns you make. But there are limits on how much you can deposit into ISAs, so the general investing account is there if you want to deposit more with no strings attached. When opening my stocks and shares ISA, I immediately noticed a few things. This account is completely free to open and maintain, with no account fees or any inactivity fees either. This put them in a similar boat to Trading 212, InvestEngine, and more recently Prosper, that offer free or very low cost ways to invest. However, there is a £1, dollar, or euro trading fee on individual stocks, and a reasonable 0.35% FX fee when investing in assets listed in a foreign currency. But you won't pay any trading fees at all when buying ETFs. So investing in a global index fund priced in pounds wouldn't incur any fees from Lightyear. But if you invested in shares in Apple, Tesla, or Star Command, you'd have a $1 trading fee, plus the 0.35% FX fee as well. Lightyear's ISA is fully flexible, meaning you can withdraw and deposit money into the account without affecting your ISA limits, as long as you do so in the same financial year. Finally, I noticed the very appealing interest rates on offer through their Vaults product, but I'll look into that more later on. I must say that from a user experience point of view, this platform is right up there in terms of how easy it is to use and how clean it looks. It's definitely one of my favourite platforms based on its appearance and layout alone, both on mobile and on desktop. You have a breakdown of your portfolio, where your cash is being held, and an option to transfer an ISA in, if you're looking to do so. Swipe left on the screen and you can view your transaction history, and then swipe right to search for investments. Nice and simple. And the depositing process was also very quick and easy. You have 4 ways that you can put money in: easy bank transfer, GBP account details, Apple/Google Pay, or debit card. But do be warned that if you use either of the instant deposit options, you will be charged a 0.5% fee for any money you deposit over £500. And this does add up with each deposit, so only your first £500 will be free. Bank transfers are recommended to avoid these fees, though the money will take some time to land in your account. After depositing, I wanted to see what I could invest into, and I wasn't really sure what to expect, as a lot of the other newer platforms seem to be quite bare bones. You have a list of the most popular ETFs and stocks to browse through at the top of the page, along with this cool tracker feature that shows you the movements of some of the most popular indexes in real time. Then below this are a range of filters to help you narrow down the options, and these include specific filters for both funds and stocks that let you sort them by country, market sector, ESG, and so on. And you even have some more detailed filters at the bottom which you can use to narrow down further. It was quite obvious when I was going through this that there wasn't a lot to invest into. In fact, there were only 57 ETFs priced in Great British pounds at the time of recording. One thing I will say though is that in the time I spent researching and scripting this video, they actually added 1,300 new instruments to their app, taking their total to almost 5,500. And they've implemented new features like heat maps to show you the composition and movement of your portfolio. So clearly they are pushing to improve their platform as much as possible as quickly as they can. If, for whatever reason, you've put money into your account just to gain interest on it, you do currently get 3% on your uninvested cash, or you have the option to put your money into what they call a vault. Inside the vault, your money will be put into a BlackRock money market fund, and you'll receive a higher rate of interest while it's in there. But this rate is variable, and this is considered to be an investment product, so your funds aren't covered by FSCS. When buying a stock or fund, you get a lot of information on its page, including performance metrics, news around the instrument, and lots of other details that are always good to know. And if you're looking at a fund, you get these cool graphics showing you the geographical breakdown of the fund, and then all the market sectors it covers, which I thought looked great. If you're looking to transfer an ISA into Lightyear, then you can do this in specie, but as of right now, you cannot transfer your investment out in specie, meaning you'd need to liquidate your investments and move it over as cash, which is something I do feel they need to sort out sooner rather than later, as this would be considered a red flag for some people. After using the app for a couple of days, I realised that if you're just looking to invest into 1 or 2 funds for the long term, then Lightyear does everything you need it to. But for those of you that want a little bit more from your investing platform, it might not have quite enough to tempt you to move your portfolio over, especially as you can't easily transfer out again. But that's just the investment side. I opened a cash ISA with them as well, just to see what it was all about, and I can confidently say it's a cash ISA. You put your money in and gain a respectable interest rate. What I do like about it is that they just directly follow the Bank of England's base rate, so you know exactly what you're getting at all times, and it's a rate that's always going to be right near the top of the market. There are no short-term promotional rates that drop after a few months, no punishments for withdrawals, no reduced rates for transfers or anything like that. And it's fully flexible, so no negative impact on your ISA limits if you need to take some cash out and replace it in the same tax year later. So that's what Lightyear has to offer. Now, there's just that nagging question that I mentioned at the very start of the video. Are Lightyear just another new broker hoarding customers with low fees, never making a profit and waiting to be bought out by a bigger bank or broker? Are they actually able to make money? To try and answer that question, I took a quick look into their financial situation, as a lot of these brokers tend to make increasing losses year on year without really having a reliable revenue stream to earn that money back. And Lightyear have specifically said that they are against the casino-style approach of some competitors. So, are they making money? They don't charge you any account fees or any trading fees on ETFs, but they do have trading fees on individual stocks, the 0.35% FX fee when buying assets listed in foreign currencies, and the 0.5% deposit fee once you've deposited over £500 using Apple/Google Pay or debit card. So they will be bringing some revenue in through those means. You could also argue that a lack of ETFs priced in pounds is an intentional move, so more investments are made in foreign currencies and currency conversion revenues are generated. But I guess we'll see how many more funds they offer in the future. Looking at the accounts they've submitted on Companies House, they have a lot of cash in the bank. But this is due to their incredibly successful Series A funding campaign in 2022, which saw them raise around 25 million euros, taking the total amount they've raised since starting to over $35 million. And while cash in the bank is good for their current stability, it doesn't answer concerns about their long-term viability. And they're not yet profitable. In 2024, they made a loss of around £7 million, which was nearly double the loss they made in 2023. There is an obvious reason for these losses though. The company is still very new and they're using the investments they received to develop their app and grow the company. And we've seen multiple brokers that have made losses in the past be bought out for hundreds of millions of pounds. But that just points to examples of companies that have done exactly what we were worried about here. Hoard in customers, exit, then fees get hiked. Or hoard in customers and hike fees because businesses have to make money from somewhere eventually. So what's my verdict here? Remember, I'm totally unqualified and these are just my opinions. Well, I think Lightyear has a long way to go. They have some good foundations in place, a brilliant app for both desktop and mobile, a good amount of money in the bank, and support from some of the biggest names in business. At the time of this video being made, it still only has a limited amount of ETFs and individual stocks to choose from. But they seem to be adding to this already, and who knows, in a few years they could well be competing with the big boys. But they will need to overcome the tricky issue facing basically every low-fee broker out there: long-term profitability. With that being said, if you're a passive investor that wants a simple platform to invest with, you could definitely give Lightyear a try. And if you want to know some of our favourite stocks and shares ISAs, you need to watch the video that I've put on screen for you now. And for full disclosure, we are an affiliate of Lightyear and many other brokers too, but we do not include affiliate links to a broker within their reviews. And our opinions are always 100% honest and our own. We never let a broker pay us for sponsorship, promotion, higher ratings, or any of that nonsense.